Hello, Targar friends. Hey, everybody, it's Jason Blaha here, and once again, it's time for another Orc Mode workout. And this intro has to go fast because we don't have much in the way of ramp up. Ramp up went real quick, kind of hit the wall pretty fast, so let's get over to it. Just a quick reminder for those of you who watch these videos and enjoy them, please click like. It would be greatly appreciated. I didn't get as good of a lift today as I had hoped for. A few things going on. People are asking, how's that shoulder doing? Everything crackled into place yesterday. Like, I moved in a way that everything in that tendon popped all back into place. It hurt like hell when it happened, and I've noticed my front delt is extremely sore afterwards. It's like DOMS. So I noticed when I was pressing today at all, like my front delts were getting like a serious pump. Everything's back into place though. And for those who didn't understand, it's my tricep tendon got popped out of place doing weighted pull-ups. And it feels like it has largely stayed in place now. Now I just have to kind of get the inflammation under control, strengthen everything up. Knowing what lifts to avoid. I've done a lot of different prehab movements and stuff this weekend, and that's what caused it to happen. And movement patterns just to see with light loads what I could handle and what was uncomfortable, what my ranges of motion were. And so I realize I can do lateral raises and stuff again. So I'm going to work those back in near the end. You guys will see it. The bench today, it's just triceps limiting me. When I hit that 352 with the buffalo bar the other day, I barely got the lockout. It just exploded up and the lockout was a little tough. Same thing happened with these heavy bands. This is technically 65 pounds of band tension, but that last couple inches, and it looks like it didn't grind that long. That felt like a 10-second lock, just that last 3 inches. And even though it blew off the chest, I know that if I threw another 20, 30 pounds on it, it would have exploded off the chest, right up into the bands. But when I hit those bands, it's locking, it's a lockout weakness. And that's what I had said. If you guys look at the bench charts and everything, it reflects that. It reflects when you look at the chart I put up this morning that I need to be testing my ability to lock. I mean, and there's a few raw stuff in there. There's some stuff that's off the chest with different bars. So those are in there for testing purposes, but when we hit those maxes, it's going to be really seeing of how good my lockout strength is coming along on maxes. And they're always going to be testing that. And people need to understand that. Someone's saying, well, if something gets hit, why don't you say it's no. Maxes, it's not about what gets hit. We're testing. We're testing. So that topic had come up on the sumo deadlift. I'm doing speed pulls with sumo. I don't need to do heavy sumo also. I'm technically a conventional puller. And as far as the weak links that are causing the sumo to be there, my wide stance box squat works a lot of that. Okay, so it's a matter of getting overlap between the two, making sure I'm working all those different angles, but a lot of my other pulling is going to be conventional. Anything I do other than maxes will be conventional. Deficit type work, snatch grip stuff when I do it, like you guys saw me do a couple weeks in a row. I'm about to cut that out a little bit and focus a little more on all my training loads and maximizing recovery, restoration, all that stuff. And after that, I did dips. Now, my front delts are still very, very fatigued. They're very fatigued from that. So, I mean, we know we're going to need shoulder work. We know we need tricep work. But a lot of times, too, heavy bands tend to hammer my delts really hard. Any sort of band tension does on pressing. And it makes sense where you look at where it kicks in the strength curve. It's where the delts tend to take over is when the bands, for me, really hit in hard. So they got really fatigued also just because everything is kind of moving correctly again. And everything is feeling a lot better. It's not 100%. But my delts get fatigued really, really easy. I've noticed this last couple of weeks. So we needed to keep working everything and work on the chest, work on the triceps with a emphasis on triceps, so we did the chain dips again. And for those curious how much weight that is, it's 102 pounds, although it's not fully locking. The last set on the 5x5, I went ahead and got 6 reps, which means I'll probably add a little bit more chain. I'll throw another 12-pound chain in there maybe next time, depending on how it feels. I mean, it's going to be on speed day, and speed work is brutal right now. My speed work is absolutely brutal. But it should all be working. I mean, I'm getting such a phenomenal stimulus during the new waves of speed work, the way that we're doing them with the bands, on the benching and the squatting. So, I mean, just like we've seen my squatting go up, I think the benching will continue to climb. It's going to be a matter of really addressing my weak links, keeping that shoulder healthy, knowing and accepting that there are lifts that I might like that I will never be able to do. And I'm largely at the point where when my clients ask me with chin-ups and stuff, I don't program chin-ups anymore for clients who do not tell me they care specifically about chin-up performance. I don't even program it anymore because I've seen too much data out there showing long-term shoulder issues with too many chin-ups. If you don't balance things, I would rather have people row. I mean, if they want to do lat pull-downs and stuff, that's fine. If they want to do it as supplemental back work. Because, again, we can never really have too much back development if we're trying to get strong. And if you want to get jacked. But in my case, they're just not going to be viable. It's going to be rows, rows, rows. And I might need to get a dumbbell set up eventually to where I can do like incline rows with dumbbells, 2 arms, stuff like that. I actually write those for a lot of my lifters. I don't have the equipment. Maybe if I get a second one of these pens, I might be able to do them up on there that way. It might be viable. I don't know. We'll see. We'll see. And you guys are seeing more today. Hey, there's Jason's mud looser skin. Yes, I've lost 100 pounds of body fat. Deal with it. Deal with it. It'll tighten up more as I lose more fat. But, you know, it is what it is. Not much you can do about it unless you want to take 6 weeks off training and spend 10 grand on a surgery. I can't afford to take 6 weeks off training to try to look pretty. Why? What benefit am I going to get weaker? JM presses. And it's funny, when I did these before and they were in the footage, I actually literally had someone come in and say, Jason, I thought you said people are supposed to touch their chest on the bench. It's like, this, you can't touch your chest. This isn't above the chest. The JM press is over my face. Okay, now because I can't set my camera up for a full side view, you can't see that. I guess, I mean, if I were to hang it in the air looking down, the barbell isn't above my chest at all. JM press is a tricep movement. It's a hybrid between a skull crusher and a closed grip bench. Okay, I'm lowering that bar to like my nose, not my chest. So I don't want to touch my nose. It's a heavy compound movement for the triceps, which need some priority. But we did a 4x6 on them. It was all just slow and controlled, trying to watch my amount of elbow movement and where I placed my shoulders so that it didn't aggravate shoulders in any way. And it actually went good. Exercise felt good. Felt good. Hand position could have used a little bit of work on some of it today because I haven't done these in a couple of weeks again. And again, trying to get in that groove of just slow and controlled. What people need to remember when we do these, your goal is to keep your knuckles pointed up. Just keep the knuckles pointed up. Now, I'm using a grip very, very low down, like a bulldog type grip almost. But you're trying to actually keep your knuckles up, which means your wrists have to bend at the bottom to accommodate that. So if you guys will notice what I'm doing there, notice my fists stay up and the wrist bend. So this is not one of these lifts. You can't treat it like a skull crusher where you cock the wrist back or you wrap up your wrist. That will actually hurt your elbows on this movement, in my experience. So you're trying to keep the fist pointed up. And a lot of people said, hey, why don't you do a tutorial on these? J.M. Blakely has an amazing tutorial already. Like, why disrespect a man who has a phenomenal tutorial already on YouTube? The exercise is named after the guy. He's got one. Just go watch it. It's great. I don't know that my tutorial would be any better than that. So I refer people to that one. But again, a 4x6 with these with 145 today, which felt good. Felt that medial head of my tricep, which is the goal. Because again, this is to improve tricep strength on the bench press. It's the purpose of this exercise. It's what we're doing with it. And it works. But again, it's going to be a lot of tricep focus. And it doesn't mean we don't train chest or delts or anything else. It means that triceps are going to be an ultra high priority. My bench lockouts are what kill me. Right? That lockout's the only thing that prevented me from going up today. I didn't try because I felt like I was going to miss. Same thing when I hit the 352 with the Buffalo bar a couple weeks back. That lockout, just that last couple inches was a problem. So then I did skull crushers. And people are like, I thought you didn't like these. Yeah, I don't. Historically, I don't. I've spent a lot of time building my elbow tendons up to where I can get away with these now. You know what? As a novice lifter, if you try to do skull crushers, you're eventually going to get tendonitis. I rotate exercises a lot. So if they start to become even a remote issue, I can rotate them out and change to a different variation. I can lower to a different place. I can change stuff up. But I also have done tons and tons and tons of band press downs to build my tricep tendons. So it's not as big of an issue. It could turn into one, but in the meantime, they work great for exactly what we want. Thickening up our triceps in a manner that should carry over to general pressing strength, right? Because it re-emphasizes a lot of the muscles hit with pressing. But again, notice I'm pretty controlled on the eccentric, not just letting it drop, not letting it bounce off the elbows. And in the later sets, I start going faster and faster, particularly the concentric rep, because I had to kind of get in the groove. I haven't done these with any real weight. I think the last time we did them was 20 pounds less or something, and did sets of 15. I wanted these to be challenging sets of 10. So I kind of had to get in the groove, but did a 5x10 on these. Yeah, there'll be some 10s and stuff in here today. I'm going to do a little bit more of a mixed bag. A lot of my big lifts are going to be 5s and 6s. I'll do some 10s on muscles that need the work, or things like my upper back. It's just too hard to do things like inverted rows and load them in a way to get the reps lower. I'm going to keep trying to raise my feet, but I'm already at 18 inches. So, we do what we can. But again, my upper back could use a little bit of volume. It's fine. It's just that all the muscles that are going to be primary movers, I really need to be hitting heavier weight on a lot of the sets. If it's going to be a primary mover in any big lift, I want to be doing heavier work. So that's why things like the good mornings, we're going really heavy. Right? If I do any deficit deadlift work, we go real heavy. We're not trying to do 10s and 15s. We can do that stuff on reverse hypers. We get stuff for upper back. We can do it for triceps. But again, 5x10 on these today. So again, very, very serious tricep focus, because that's 9 extra sets for triceps with smaller movements after having done, pressing, dips. And I mean, dips with chains, they're still using a decent amount of tricep. It's not like there's no tricep being worked there. So we'll do something pretty similar to this on speed day. I might pull out the JM presses and just focus more on extensions. Mainly because we're going to have the dips in. Will I add overhead press back in? I don't know. I discussed it last week. My shoulders could probably get away with it now, but there's smaller stuff I can do. There'll be a point where I add it back in. But right now I feel like on my shoulder girdle I can hit it with smaller exercises, and especially my restoration days, because I'm doing tons of band pull-aparts with underhand grip, which is working my rear delts, but that also works the whole shoulder girdle. It does work your traps and side delts and everything. It's just focused more on the rear delt and some of the rotator cuffs, which again, I've got to bring up. Got to make my shoulders stronger. Got to keep my shoulders healthy. It's the only way I'm going to keep that bench moving. Got to keep my shoulders healthy, and we've got to continue to just build up triceps. They've got to get bigger. They got to get thicker. There's just no way around it. The rows, though, today I did 5 sets. I did 3 sets last time. First set here, I got the bench in a bad position. It needed to be further away from me. Made it harder to really put my feet correct. But it ended up being like 12 reps on everything but the last set. I think the last set I got to 10 and hit failure. So again, 5 sets. Why? Because this is my only real lat work. Now, the speed pulls and the benching, it does all this other stuff hit lats, yes. I mean, the speed work definitely hits lats. We could argue good mornings hit lats. But they do need a decent amount of work. And by doing 5 sets of this both days, I'm getting 10 sets. All right, 10 sets. That's a very, very solid amount for a stipulated good amount of muscle growth. Sorry, guys, I'm yawning there. Sleepy. Got up a little earlier than normal today, and I already wake up stupidly early. Probably get a good night's sleep tonight. But again, we want to get all that. We want to reach that sort of training volume. And these feel great on my shoulders too. This is another thing I noticed. My shoulder health was at its best when I was doing these all the time before I messed up and added those pull-ups back in. I felt amazing, had zero inflammation, zero pain, felt like I had 25-year-old shoulders. First time I did chin-ups again, we just destroyed everything. So it's like, let's go back and we'll do the lifts that we know work. In addition to continuing to work those weak points, which is going to be rear delts, infraspinatus, rotators, Right? That's the stuff that has to be worked. And I've got to hammer it hard. But we do that on all the off days. And all the band work, I do probably 20 sets for bands every week right now on the rear delts. So that is a ton of volume. But this is hitting it also. This is hitting those same muscles also. But we're doing it in a larger multi-joint exercise that works the entire upper back. It works the entire middle back too, but the upper back is the slight emphasis here. The wide grip, all of that helps for that. Getting those feet elevated. And we did 5 sets of 10 on the side raise. All right, this is what I'm finding. When I get rid of all the silly stuff and quit trying to use chains and whatever else, so that there's not as much swinging, and I don't have the appropriate dumbbells and stuff. I've been doing these with my kettlebells, and I could go back and use the kettlebells, actually, and I might do that next time. I don't have the right kettlebells because I only have individuals, like in 5-pound increments. I can't do 2 arms at the same time, but I can't do that with a loading pin either. But I wanted to mess with this today, see how it felt with just the 13 pounds. I could probably do these one arm with a kettlebell too, and I didn't even think about that. And I was so caught up in if I get a second loading pin, I could do these with both arms, right? I could do them with both arms. But I can do these one arm with the kettlebell, and I didn't even think of that until just now as I'm filming the video. But we did 5 sets of 10. Now these done this way, they feel good. My shoulders feel good. Everything's slow and controlled. Here's the thing that we've got to talk about with laterals. These are the things that can hurt your shoulders or they can build your shoulders. In this case, it's pretty slow, pretty controlled. Not trying to go excessively high. I'm having a little bit of bending over just a hair. I'm not worried about keeping my scapula completely retracted. I'm letting it protract. These are the things that we have to do on this for them to actually be good for your shoulders. This is a movement that, again, this is being done almost purely vanity bodybuilding type training, because I mean they're not a primary mover. Now we could argue that the stability, they could add extra stability to my shoulder girdle, and they build the traps, build the side delts, and so therefore they're still going to be a valuable strength tool. But in terms of just looking big and jacked, let's be honest here. Talk about a muscle that's going to make you look bigger, just bigger delts and shoulders. And right now I'm at a point to where I don't want to do a bunch of really heavy work building this up. I just want to come in and just build the muscle. Can I go back and start doing some heavy standing presses and all that again? Sure. Could I do the snatch grip high pulls and stuff again? Sure. But I can't do that stuff till I know for a fact my shoulder health is 100% on point. 100%. And even then, we've got to weigh out the volumes and stuff of if it's worth it. I mean, we could argue that the snatch grip high pulls are amazing because of the explosive element. But I'm doing tons of other explosive training. I'm doing plyometrics and stuff. Do I really need it? In other words, is it better than jumping? Probably not. Jumping's going to be better. I'm jumping multiple times a week, doing jump work, plyometrics. So we could argue about, do I really need it, or can I just go to, in this particular case, one of the few muscles that I'm just going to do smaller bodybuilding type training just to thicken it up without overall concern for performance, because it's a stabilizer, just like a lot of the upper back. It's not primary movers in anything. Does the tension we're working with matter to a great extent? It might not. So this one for now, I'll do this stuff, and the main thing is to get that area growing. Because if I get it to grow further, we're going to, again, create better stability in the joint. Because I really just need to bring up my whole shoulder girdle to give me a more stable platform to bench from safely. And again, lifts like this, done correctly as a finesse movement, can work very, very well. And we don't need a lot of weight. That's the other thing. That's one of the other things where guys mess up on this. Guys who are smaller than me flinging around a 30 or a 35 pound dumbbell. Okay, come on. I'm struggling in getting a pump and a cramp with sets of 10 with 13 pounds. It just takes a while though, because I have to do all these reps and I have to switch arms. So it takes longer. But it doesn't take that long. It doesn't take that long out of your day. But it was a good workout. Everything is moving along. Everything's not perfect, but it's moving along. Other than my squatting and deadlifting is going perfect. So we'll do a max deadlift tomorrow. So I hope it has been informative. And I will talk to you guys next time.